Today I'm at my local John Deere dealership in front of all these tractors to pick up the newest piece of John Deere technology that I purchased for my farm. Now, is it a tractor like one of these ones that's behind me that I purchased? Unfortunately, no. Is it a combine like the ones that are right behind me right now? Unfortunately, again, no. And I shouldn't say unfortunately, because honestly, the piece of technology that we're picking up, in my opinion, is better than all this stuff that's currently parked out in the dealership lot. Here is John Deere's newest technology inside this box. We'll bring it back home, get her opened up, show you what I bought. Before we head back home, it's only natural as a farmer, you gotta take a tour of the lot to see all the equipment that's here. Got a couple nice fertilizer spreaders, some nice sprayers. I wish I owned that one. A bunch of combines, and then off on this side is all the tractors. It's time to open up John Deere's newest technology that I'm implementing on my farm. Moment of truth. It's time to show you what I bought. A brand new John Deere GPS globe. Get her cut open and talk about the benefits of this brand new GPS globe. Here is the brand new globe in its full glory. The John Deere Starfire 7500 globe. The newest GPS thing you can buy from John Deere. The one nice thing about this one being a 7500 globe is there's also a 7000 globe, which looks and is designed the exact same. The only thing is when the 7000 globe came out, that was during COVID, and they use the exact same chips in these globes as they do in a CPAP machine. So rather than using a chip for something in farming, they obviously brought them all and used them in a CPAP machine. But this one here, that one, John Deere created their own chip. So the benefit of this globe, the 7500, is this will work on the John Deere autonomous tractor when it's fully released. Which that autonomous tractor capability is honestly one of the main reasons I upgraded. With technology changing so fast, the Starfire 6000 I can still sell and get a decent amount of money out of, but the 7500, this is the only one that works with the autonomous tractor, which John Deere said 2030 they're gonna have autonomous tractors out. I've seen them on my personal farm. I believe it. So I went ahead and purchased this. I'm gonna be selling the Starfire 6000. The benefit of the new 7500 is I don't have to rely on any of the neighbors' towers, so it should be a lot faster pull-in times, should have no issues with repeatability. Hopefully this thing solves a lot of the problems I've been having with this 6000. One nice thing about going from this old 6000 to this new 7000 is they have the exact same mounting system, so I just gotta slap this on here, maybe. Oh, maybe they do have a different mounting system. Oh no. Slap that on there, and it uses the same plug. So we'll get this plugged in, and then I'm really eager to see if this is gonna work, solve some of my mapping problems. So we're gonna take this outside and start mapping. I almost forgot, before we go outside in the freezing temperatures, I gotta call in and activate this globe. We literally picked it up about a half hour ago. I need to make sure they put on the correct signal on this. So we'll call into the support center and give them the serial number, and then we'll be ready to rock. P is in Penny, C is in Chris, S is in Sally. What I was doing there on the phone, called in the support center, gave them the serial number. They now have SFRTK, or the RTK that I want, or the precise accuracy that I need, activated on this globe for me to use. But for some reason here on the display, it says SF2, and I want that to say SFRTK. What I think the problem might be is this display is like 5 years old, and the last time it was updated was 3 seasons ago, which might have been before SFRTK was installed as a version on here. So we're gonna get a USB stick, try to update the software inside this display, and hopefully that solves our problem. Come back here in the office to do that. Ignore the mess. I still have my 5 exams I need to take for my drone. I have 2 scheduled for this Friday, so once that's all done, we'll get the office clean. Obviously, I don't update things very often using a USB stick because I forgot. The way John Deere's software manager is set up, you have to use Windows 10. Me, I like to stay up to date on technology. I have a Windows 11 computer. Thankfully, Dad's old school, so we'll have to go in the house, use his Windows 10. It's taking slightly longer than I anticipated because, of course, the internet in the house isn't working, so I'm needing to use the hotspot off my phone. But we're making things do. Unfortunately, I couldn't figure out what's going on. For some reason, the software manager that I downloaded from the computer, that isn't working properly, and I'm not sure if it's an issue with my internet connection or if it's an issue with John Deere software manager. So I called the dealer. Somebody's supposed to call me back. They're looking into it, but now I have my crop insurance agent coming. We're gonna meet up here in the office. So I'm gonna run up there, sit down with him, and start talking about what decisions I'm gonna make and how much money I'm gonna spend to insure my 2025 crop. My crop insurance meeting is now over. I would have recorded it, but honestly, it's like an hour and a half long of us going back and forth, talking about numbers, talking about which is the best option for me and my financial situation and how much risk I want to take on in farming in the upcoming year. And the culmination of the whole meeting, no different than if you're going out and buying private insurance, it all comes down to this sheet right here, which is a quote that I got for my 160 acres of corn, and then I also have a quote for my 230 acres of soybeans. So for example, on my corn, the way that crop insurance works is it takes your last 10 years of yield history for a specific farm. So for me, I use Dad's yield history. So on this farm, for example, my approved yield is 200 bushels per acre, and then they take that times an expected price. So right now, the prices are still being figured out in the month of February. So the expected price is $4.70. So 200 bushels per acre times $4.70 per bushel gives me $940 that I can protect. That $940 is if I insured 100% of what my farm is expected to produce. But because number one, crop insurance doesn't offer to you the guarantee to go all the way up to 100%. And number two, I don't want to spend that much money in insurance premiums. What I chose to do is basically figure out how much I wanted to spend per acre in insurance, make sure I covered my costs, make sure I can make a decent amount of revenue on the farm this year. And that's how I made a decision on which levels I was going to purchase for my corn acres and my soybean acres for 2025. The decision that I told the crop insurance agent and I made, which I can still alter up until March 15th, and the premiums will still alter just a little bit because we're still in the month of February. But what I chose to do is I chose an 80% revenue coverage. So anything below $752 that I earn in revenue, I would get an insurance check at the end of the year. And then I also chose this new option this year, which is ECO and ECO Plus, which gives me a revenue protection between 86% and 95% of my revenue. So if for some reason my revenue falls below 95% of $960, I would also collect a check for that percentage of 95 to 86%. Now on the soybean side of things, what I ultimately chose to do was I took a little bit higher percentage of revenue coverage because soybeans, it seems like our yields vary more year to year. So I chose an 85% level of coverage. And then I also took an 86 to 95% level of coverage, which is that ECO enhanced coverage option that they offer. And in total, it's going to cost me about $50 per acre for that level of soybean coverage. And on the corn coverage, I'm expecting about $70 per acre. And there is one more thing on the crop insurance side that I forgot to mention. If you look, here we are, middle of February. We've had very little snow all winter long, which makes me think we're going to have an early spring, which I'm optimistic for, but it did encourage me to purchase a new insurance thing, which allows me to plant my soybeans 10 days earlier and still get an insurance policy. That way, if it does rain or the beans freeze or something, I get paid to replant them. So I spent, I believe, it was an extra $1.50, which is now going to allow $1.50 per acre, which will now allow me to plant my soybeans the 10th of April, which I'm hoping to do because that's hopefully going to lead to higher yields. It is like negative 40 degrees out with the windshield today. But now that our crop insurance meeting is over, I've felt like I've got nothing done yet today, like at all. So one thing I want to get done today, so I feel like I get something done, is I got some new LED lights. Yes, I have not stopped on my LED light conversion of the farm. And these are for my office. So to make it feel like I actually get something done, we're going to go up to the office, get these new LED lights installed. Here are the two lights that we're gonna start changing into LEDs, and then that back there is my office where I also have two lights like that we're gonna start changing. Moment of truth now on that light. There we go. We got them both up. It seems quite a bit brighter in here. This is the office where we meet, like where I met earlier with the crop insurance agent. And honestly, these old bulbs, these were installed when this office was added on, which was right before I was born, which I was born in '99. So these bulbs are well over 25 years old. They use 32 watts per bulb, so I was using 64 watts per fixture. These are only a 30 watt fixture, so I'm using half the amount of electricity. I got way more light. As you know, I love being energy efficient. I love being efficient, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing back here in my personal office. So we'll switch those now. And here is the after inside my office, including some before and after shots side by side, just to give you a perspective of the difference. One thing I should have looked at a little more before I ordered these lights is they're not quite the same size as the old ones, so you can kind of see the old socket up there for the old light, in addition to the solid paint line of where I painted around these lights prior. I'm going to have to get out some paint, a little bit of plaster, fill in these holes, get that all cleaned up. As for the new John Deere Globe that I picked up today, I got to do a little bit more research and able to get that thing fully up and operational, because there is some cool new autonomy features that new Globe is going to allow me to do. So be on the lookout for that in an upcoming video. Make sure to hit subscribe down below so you can see that. With that, that's it for today's video from the Frigid Farm. Thanks so much everybody for watching. We'll see ya in the next one.